So I was thinking about something. So Trump recently attended UFC 316, and you can probably guess the the welcoming he got. And I want to play this clip of him walking in, but there's something bigger that I want. I'm gonna mute this sound here, but y'all can watch the clip there on your screen. Him walking into the arena. Obviously, the crowd is going crazy. There's music playing in the background, people wanting to shake hands and everything. Here's another angle of him walking in, shaking hands, obviously. There's Mike. Just a different angle of him walking in. Okay? But, I was thinking about something. And that is, why don't more conservatives... I kind of know the answer to this question. But I want you guys to talk to me in the comments. Why don't more conservatives openly in public show or display that they're conservatives? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Obviously, and I want to continue on with this a little bit, but, fighters stopping to talk to him, as you can see here. Go back to the first clip. Fighters stopping to talk to him, the whole nine. He's not the only one. This lady here came over to him. I'm going to mute that sound there because there's music playing in the background. Congratulating him. I think eventually she actually took her belt off and put it on Uncle Trump as well. Look at her. So happy to, meet Uncle Trump, obviously. Look, there we go. There we go. There we go. I think he put it around his waist at one point as well. I think I saw that somewhere. Look at that. Look at that. The people's champ. The people's champ, baby. It's fitting. It is fitting. The people's champ, This fighter as well came out, pointed out Uncle Trump. Pointed out Uncle Trump, shook his hand, Joe Rogan's hand, the whole nine. So here's that fighter as well. Here's a clip
and I know
of him explaining what him and Trump talked about.
And I know you went viral last year when I asked you what you said to Donald Trump, but
yeah.
What did you say this time?
Man, this year I just told him, I said, man, I love it when you're president, bro. I get a bigger tax break. And he was like, you know how we do, my boy. So it was all love, man. It was all love. You know how we feel about taxes? Me and Donald Trump feel the same way about taxes. Hate paying that shit.
Don't we all? Don't we all hate paying taxes? Man. We should get rid of taxes, but that's just me. Adin Ross, one of the biggest streamers on this planet, a massive audience. Actually, Adin Ross was one of the guys that Uncle Trump went on his stream and streamed with Adin before last year's election.
Oh, no.
So here he is talking to him.
Historic moment. That's Big 45 right there. Stop playing. Oh, he copping, please. That's what I'm talking about.
Big 45.
That's your president, nigga. Oh, yeah.
Big 47. Yes, sir. Big 47. But obviously, that's not the only place Trump receives love. Because I know some people may say, well, him and Joe Rogan have a great relationship. Bro, wherever Trump shows up, it's love. Whole crowd going crazy. Alabama versus Georgia, it's Buckeye Nation over here, and champs, baby, champs. The Ohio State University. Make sure you say the, you know what I mean? Underneath the stadium. You love it, you love it, you love it. I can go through these clips for days. Literally days. I could go through these clips for days. That was I believe that was a Steelers game that he attended as well. And here is the Navy Army game. Wherever this man goes, it's love, He was out on the field talking to the players before tip-off. crowd going crazy with him on the Jumbotron, you know, wherever this guy goes. And yet, you know, I've come across, I feel like, way too many videos of liberals saying, well, conservatives are quiet now. What's going on? And it's just like, listen, I personally think a lot of conservatives don't outwardly express that, you know, we're conservatives or support Uncle Trump, because a lot of us just don't want to be bothered, you know, and I understand that. I get that, because liberals are actually the party of violence, although they try to point at us and make it seem and sound as if we're the party of violence, but it's really them. But I think that's probably the main reason why a lot of conservatives are quiet. But me personally, I think it's time to change that. I think we definitely should change that and be loud and proud. Maybe not necessarily loud. We don't have to be obnoxious like liberals are, but be proud. Wear that Trump shirt. Wear that red hat. You know, listen, I personally know someone who is a conservative, but would never show it outwardly. You know, we'll talk about it privately, but they would never, for example, wear the red hat, the iconic MAGA hat. They would never wear it, you know? And I feel like we all should put on the red hat, the Trump gear, the Trump shoes, or whatever, Republican gear. Doesn't even necessarily have to be Trump himself. Just Republican gear, conservative apparel, whatever it is, and be proud about it. Be proud, you know? I feel like we're a little too quiet sometimes. We're a little too humble sometimes, you know? At the end of the day, we did win. We won. We outnumber them, even though it seems as if they outnumber us because they're the loud and obnoxious bunch. You know, they're the loudest between the two parties. But we definitely outnumber them. So I think it's time to change things. But what do y'all think, man? Let me know in the comments if you guys agree with me that it is time to, and I know I'm not saying all conservatives are silent in their support. That's not what I'm saying. But I do feel like, especially from my own personal experience, there are a lot of quiet conservatives. And I don't necessarily mean just talking, but just even like, I don't know, putting up an American flag, for example. I know some folks that won't even put up an American flag because of how it's been associated with the Republican Party, and they just don't want to be bothered, or wearing the red MAGA hat or a Trump shirt or even just a Republican type of shirt, right? I think it's time to change it. Be proud that there are many conservatives, because I feel like Democrats, leftists are, I feel like they're becoming a little more emboldened to do some of the nonsense that they're doing because they feel like they're the majority. But in reality, they're the minority. And if they saw how many people around them were actually conservatives, it would shock them. You know, it would completely shock them. How many people around them actually voted for Uncle Trump? I think it would shock them, because there's lots of people around them that actually voted for Trump. And honestly, I think it would be good for the conservative party for us to do that, because then we put on that red hat, and that leftist who thought we were Kamala voters were really Trump voters. They could see, oh, Republicans aren't all terrible, huh? They lied to me. And I'm not saying that's going to be all liberals. There's going to be some liberals who are going to still do the liberal thing and, oh, you're a Nazi, you're a terrorist, you're this, you're that. You know, they're going to do the liberal thing. But I do think there are going to be some liberals who are going to open their eyes and realize, oh, I've been lied to. You haven't treated me any differently this entire time. And you know how I feel about Kamala and Democrats. Why haven't you said anything? You haven't called me any names. You haven't said any nasty things to me. You voted for Trump? Really? Or are you just joking? No, I really voted for Trump. Wow. So what they tell us on the news all the time, that's a lie then. Yes, it's been a lie the entire time. We aren't nasty, mean, and terrible people. You know? I think it's twofold. You know, listen, I think it would let folks know on the left that they're actually outnumbered. But then the people who are actually, that could actually be flipped, like myself previously, it'll open their eyes. So I think it's a good thing. But y'all let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you agree, if you disagree, why or why not? Talk to me. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.